Thank you for joining the Sharpest College Football Podcast Week 5 preview. I am BuckMetrics, joined as always by Robert Martin. Robert, do you guys get Hatch chilies up there in Canada?
No, is that a restaurant? I'm gonna.
It's Hatch chilies are chili peppers from New Mexico. They're in
Oh,
season for just a very short time, and I feel like, as this is the first week where we have dual model plays, I feel like the guy at the supermarket saying, "We finally have the Hatch chilies. The Hatch chilies are in." I've been getting questions about dual model plays, and yeah, okay, Hatch chilies are now out of season, but the dual model plays are in season now. Finally,
yeah, I'm excited for that. No, I don't think we have hatch chilies. Maybe we do in some more exotic grocery stores here, but not that I know off the top of my head.
oh, New Mexico is considered exotic up there. Oh my goodness. Okay,
For it's a lot further for us than it is for you guys.
okay. I can tell you at UCLA, New Mexico football is considered exotic because there's like nothing they'd ever seen before a couple of weeks ago. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you're returning and if you are new, we hope that you do join us again. And if you are a returning guest, as I like to say, you are, by definition, brilliant. Just a reminder that there are several games that we want to talk about that will not make it here. Since we have dual model plays, we're going to stick to those. The ones that don't make dual model plays, we will be talking about in Island Time with our guy Duck. That'll drop probably a day or so after you are listening to this. Robert, I have my first power ratings of the 2025 season. And my goodness, I did not expect this. Can you name, do you know the name of this guy right here? This elephant guy?
Oh,
They don't try to trick you with these, by the way. This is like a pretty obvious one. When I say it, you're going to say, of course.
Alonzo.
It is Big Al.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah,
Yes. Big Al, the Alabama mascot. I did not see this coming. Now, Alabama, I'll put it this way. I have them ranked as number one. I'll say that ass kicking at the hands of Florida State has aged pretty well, as Florida State has basically held the business, and Alabama has just absolutely throttled everybody else in their wake. So it makes sense, but not expected. A few surprises here. We were talking in the week 4 review. Michigan at number 2. Surprisingly functional on offense and not surprisingly very good on defense. How about this? I was talking to my guy Jeremy Hookham, Longhorn guy, in for a long season. Sorry, Jeremy. He asked me who surprised me most, and I said, this is a team that people don't know about, Arizona, and they're going to pop up a few times here, so we'll just say, put a pin in that. Robert, you might be familiar with this team at number 5. You had a little bit to say about
yes.
it. Look at your eyes light up here.
I so it's interesting. I did run a little bit of this, and I had Arkansas pretty high too, and I was like, that seems wrong. But no, apparently, you've got them pretty high up there too. I was like, there's no way that the two-loss team should be that high, but no. And this is just makes the loss again like they should have covered the -6.5 versus
Yeah.
Memphis. Like, why? We've got you power ranked at the top 10. What are you doing here? Come on.
Yes. BYU at number 7. Just interesting. Their defense is as expected. They're showing, I think, some functionality on offense. Their Bachmeier, younger brother of Hank Bachmeier, is their quarterback. I guess they're doing okay post Jake Retzlaff. We will see how that works when they get into Big 12 schedule. Really surprising here. Number 12, Houston, just on the heels of Texas Tech. We did say a couple weeks ago when we had a play on them with Duck as well. Picked them on a Friday night game. Can't remember who they played. But man, this surprising, but it is Willie Fritz year 2. So maybe not surprising. Number 15 is, I'll put it this way. I'm not going to say, boy, I can buy that because this coach always does well and surprises me. Mike Loxley in at number 15 with Maryland. I don't know what's going on here.
I think it's Malik Washington.
Okay, he's been great, but I don't know about 15 points great in
No,
terms of
true.
power rating.
True.
I don't know. You know what? I think my model had Maryland last week too, and I just said can't play, can't do it. Don't want to, and forgot to mention this when we were doing the week 4 review too. That was a classic. The number moved away from us, and look, I know that some people legitimately make a living on closing line value, and I'm not going to argue with their model. It works for them. I will just say, look, if I got a good number and it's not as, and if it goes against me, I'm still good if I get a good number because I'm not grabbing all of them and depending upon the right movement. You and I are going off wrong numbers. And you know what? As we've learned several times, including when Jerry Kill embarrassed Hugh Freeze for the second straight time, I think it was, bad numbers can get worse for us. And you know what? Who cares?
Yeah, point I want to make on that. No, Maryland is a very interesting case on that. There are some people in college and the NFL. I think more NFL than college, but they say that generally the expression is that by Sunday or by Saturday, all the value's gone off the board. No, not
No,
true. Like
no.
literally, there was more value on Maryland when we bet it.
Yeah,
Right, there's more value. It got even better of a play than since we bet it. And had I not already bet it, I would have instantly bet it. People are like, oh no, if you're waking up on Saturday morning or Sunday morning and placing all your bets, you're gonna be losing. I'm like, no, you're not. We're totally fine with that too. Okay, maybe a line here or there, but no, generally we're just like, yeah, this line is great. I love this line. Let's bet this line, and then you win. It's not. Now, obviously, you should have plans of this, and there's better lines you can get earlier in the week. But no, there's a lot of opportunities where you can just be like, I still love this line. This line is great. Bet this line. Like the idea that if you're not betting things on Monday or Tuesday, you're losing money. That's not true.
yeah, yeah. I will say though that through the season, much more than through the week, the bad lines just get fewer in number.
Yes.
As what is his name? The Bear, the guy on ESPN, Chris Felica says, it seems all the models converge about that second week of November, and they get pretty sparse.
Yeah.
All right, my offensive ratings again. Big Al leading the way here. Alabama, my top offense here. I've mentioned this last year. My buddy Q Dog actually halfway through the season, he said, "Look, stop with Northern Illinois stuff. It's just not working." And it was their win over Notre Dame that just made light bend for them the rest of the year. And here we are again because I believe their two FBS opponents are a surprisingly really good Mississippi State defense and the team we were just talking about, Maryland. So I I will be in wait and see mode, and I will wait for the double model plays, and we might be talking about that soon. But yeah, I could see this being another Northern Illinois screwing with the numbers, UCF just screwing with the model again, and just we can't shake it out of the machinery here. Surprised that Nebraska was this high offensively, although as we talked about in the Week 4 review, the problem seemed to be on defense. They really could not stop the run against Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, they were able to put up 27 against Michigan. That's, I think, actually more than Oklahoma did. So you're looking at roughly, at least roughly equivalent. Actually, they are higher than Oklahoma on the offensive power rankings. So it makes some sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. And then at number 19, sneakily, quietly, we didn't even get into this team, Virginia. We just said, Chandler Morris made a bad career decision here playing for Tony Elliott. Joke's on us. This is actually a good offense this year. Maybe it was just maybe there was just Calandria, Tony Muskett just feuding that poisoned the whole locker room last few years.
Yeah, I regretted. I'd wanted to bet Virginia minus 16 and a half last week, but I bet a lot, and I'm like, maybe it's early in this year. Maybe the model had Virginia by a ton. I'm like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do it. Maybe Stanford's better than we thought, or maybe the model's just off on Virginia. But literally, like within watching the game, like within a minute, it was like 7-0. I'm like, I should have bet that, but it's okay. I'm more than fine, just off of Syracuse alone. That's okay. I didn't need that, but no, yeah, they play Florida State on Friday. We might be
Okay.
talking about that game. Yeah, yeah.
That is an island. I think it's an. No, I think that's in this episode. We'll see. Somebody, you and I will talk it either just us two or with Duck
Yes,
tomorrow or whenever. So
conversation. Yeah.
yeah. All right. My next level of team metrics. I will say too. I've mentioned this just once in the preseason. Once every team's played a conference game, I can actually get not the Ryan, but I can get the GGAB Plus and the Apex Plus offensively and defensively. So we'll have better numbers here. What sticks out to me here on the team Ryan is again Arkansas. This is surprising because when I think of Arkansas, I think that quarterback that can run and he can just pass enough to be a running threat. But this is an explosive passing offense. And TCU, remember they lost like their number one guy, Jack Betch, and we said McAllister should be good enough to backfill. He was really good too, and boy, he's done that and then some. And Josh Hoover's just been awesome. He's clearly got the guys to throw to at TCU.
TCU is terrifying. They're very good. And again, we're seeing Texas Tech, TCU, Arizona State. Like hilariously enough, like were none of those were originally Big 12 teams. They're all like some form of transplant to the Big 12 at this point, different waves. But actually, Texas Tech was original Big 12. TCU, obviously, first edition, and then other ones, second edition as well. But no, I mean, that Big 12 is going to be fascinating, and I can't wait for them to all immediately play each other. And some of them, how they're all going to get 2 losses. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, excuse me. And then the team running offenses here. Army, getting back to Army things, they were not in the top 10 last week. Now they're at number 5 after playing North Texas. Michigan into the top 10 after playing Nebraska, which is impressive. So things get back normal for those two teams.
Yeah, Michigan, a much stronger running team than normal. Missouri, also a very strong running team as well. Florida State, Thomas Castellanos, we've joked about that. Those box scores that seem like they should have lost the game, but somehow they won the game. Again, mostly powered by just an insane rushing attack, right? Navy as well. Indiana, again, just absolutely. That was the thing with Indiana. Indiana last year was a rushing team that sometimes passed. Now it's like a good passing team that just rushes to make you have to stick people in the box and then just crush you in the air. So that's why that team is so terrifying.
Yeah, yeah. And just remember for later, Missouri here, number 2. They haven't had the toughest schedule, but they've played 2 power 4 teams in Kansas and South Carolina. So we'll come back to that in a second. So my top player metrics here, Trinidad Chambliss jumps into the top 10 Apex at number 4. Lenora Sellis jumps in there after playing at Missouri. And how about this? CJ Carr at number 9, true freshman, or no, redshirt freshman. I do want to point out, too, Purdue has played 3 FBS teams, and they have faced 2 of the top 9 quarterbacks by my metrics here, including a very nice, I wouldn't say runaway, number 1 guy in Jaden Mayava here.
It's fascinating that Jaden Mayava is very clearly good, and yet there's no NFL hype about him whatsoever. If there's no NFL hype, it's just, yeah, he's the quarterback for USC. Moving on. That's it. But they're okay, and it's early, to be fair. It is early. But like they are tearing up other teams. He looks far better than he did at UNLV last year. So this is the thing. Or actually no, 2 years ago, I think, right? Yeah. So it's insane how he's underrated. Again, you look at this, right? What do you have? 3 SEC quarterbacks, 3 Big Ten quarterbacks there, USC, Washington, and Oregon. Notre Dame, and kind of throw that in as a Big Ten team, I guess. Texas Tech, and then UCF, right? Taven Jackson, like Scott Frost found something in them. And are they a good team? No, but could they ride could they ride Taven Jackson to a bowl and then he gets sucked up by an SEC team next year? Yeah, sure. Then this is good. Scott Frost is gonna be the ultimate fate. It's gonna be like the line is gonna be like 8.5 next year on them. And just be like, you can't wait. You just can't wait to start betting that line down. But no, he's a good player. Taven Jackson's a good player, and he's basically single-handedly won them a couple games already. Like that first game, especially against Kennesaw State. But no, it's a very interesting. Yeah, Jacksonville State. Yeah. No, it's a very interesting. It's a very interesting group here, and this is the top 10 player apex. Again, USC. I think they are a top 25 team. Washington, they're not top 25. They should be top 25. Florida State should be as well. Ole Miss is top 25. South Carolina arguably should be top 25. Oregon and Alabama definitely. Texas Tech definitely. And Notre Dame as well. So again, a very good mix, and I think this mix captures exactly the way I see the FBS here. I think these are the top quarterbacks in the FBS.
Yeah. Going back to your Taven Jackson UCF discussion, be prepared to be surprised. I'll just say that. At some point, you're going to be surprised here. Okay. All right, on the receiver side, the top player, Ryan, this for Ian Strong, the Rutgers, this 2,223 is not right. That would be an all-time record. He's had a good season, but not that good. Rutgers, finally, they had to, I don't know. They still have the Greek rifle. Maybe the Greek rifle is a slow developing guy. And maybe they maybe they figured it out. I don't know. Not to spoil anything, but I do have a top 20 defense here coming up shortly. I think Rutgers actually is like legitimate at passing the ball. McAllister, like we said, he's just filled in for Jack Betch. He's taking the next step, so no surprise there. Trell Harris, not familiar with him. Don't know if he's a transfer or a in-house product at Virginia, but at number 7, just obviously probably the guy that Josh Hoover's relying on. And not familiar with Bryce Farrell as Stanford, but I was very surprised to see Stanford show up here. Like we were saying, Mr. Farrell might have a career day against North Carolina then, right?
Yeah, they can't tackle or anything, so he gets to just keep running. No, Ian Strong there. It'd be funny if after 4 games he had a 2,200 Ryan. To be like catches the ball, runs it 80 yards. Be like that was good. Be like no, we gotta do 3 more a game. If not, we're not gonna get to that number. No, yeah, Eric McAllister is just insane. Now, again, there's obviously when you're playing a different competition, Big 12 defenses were sneakily good last year, but I think sometimes their quarterbacks are not that good. He gets a good matchup. He's just clearing. He's just clearing it, getting wide open, and he's just so fast. It's just game at that point. Interestingly enough, for Rutgers, though, I remember people said that before that Rutgers Iowa game, they said, "Oh, Rutgers has the number one passing offense." Not sure exactly how they scored that. I think they were trying to measure it through offensive success rate on passing, which, like, okay, but again, it's still Cal McManus, right? Like, it's not. It's okay, but they got a good passing attack, but their defense is horrible. That's exactly what we said was going to happen against Iowa. And they're like, okay, great, your passing attack is good, but Iowa's eventually going to shut you down, and your defense is horrible, so Iowa's going to score more than you, and that's exactly what happened, right? Yeah.
As a reminder, I think their defensive coordinator is the guy that almost got PJ Fleck fired from Minnesota way back when.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here's where you're going to be shocked. My goodness. Maryland number 2. Number 8, it's top 20 defenses for those listening along at home. Just like everybody drew it up, Alex Grinch comes in and gets Central Florida as a top 10 defense, right? That's what we all knew was going to happen.
Yeah, of course.
Houston lost the defensive coordinator to Texas Tech, who's looked really good, but they still have something there in Houston on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know if you and I had mentioned this. I had seen just some signs. I think it was maybe in the defensive apex, but Mississippi they've got like a strangely really good defense, and it's hanging in there. And then Iowa, I'm bringing this up because they were outside the top 20 last year in defenses. So back in the top 20 where they belong, but far from a vintage Iowa.
Yeah, Maryland up so high is pretty crazy. UCF that high. But that being said, you played Jacksonville State, and North Carolina. So I think that's definitely impacting it. LSU, you played Clemson and Florida. Clemson had 10, Florida had, I think, also 10. So I'm not really. They play Ole Miss this week. Let's see where they fall after this week. If they hold Ole Miss less than 20 points, then we'll start talking about how real that is. I think that's very fair. But yeah, Oregon, Oklahoma, Alabama, Florida State, Ohio State, Miami, Florida, those make a lot of sense there as well. Indiana, strong defense. Again, just showing how well-rounded that team is. That's probably one of the more terrifying teams in all of FBS.
Yeah. I will point out as well as when I was talking about North, there's probably, I don't know, we'll see if these are key games. In horse racing, there's this concept of the maiden races, key races, where you get a horse that ran a decent fourth to a couple of horses that actually went on to do really good things in their next starts. Key race, look at the people that contended in that race. I bring that up because you've got Maryland here at number 2 and Mississippi State at number 18. And when I was talking about Northern Illinois, these are the 2 FBS teams that they've actually played so far. Either there's severe regression and we lose our butts over the next few weeks as those numbers regress and my model leads us astray, or we are way, way ahead of the market on all 3 of these teams. Who knows? Yeah. We'll find out. All right, some more defensive team metrics here for top 10 defensive apex. There you go. The Alex Grinch Magic, Central Florida, your 8th best passing defense, just as everybody expected. Texas into the top 10. I want to bring this up on the run defense here. Missouri at number 5. Remember a while ago I said just keep in mind that they were number 2 in offensive GGAB. This is a team that we barely talked about in the SEC preview, and this is really unexpected. It's interesting that you've got a team that is so impressive in the 2 basically line of scrimmage stats here in Missouri. I completely did not expect this at all. That is a really bullish sign for the Tigers.
Mm-hmm. Missouri is a very interesting case as well in the SEC. There's a lot of potential competitive teams in the SEC. UCF, number 1 passing defense. That's got to be a lot of Jacksonville State, North Carolina in there. There's got to be, same as LSU, that's got to be Florida and Clemson, right? There's got to be.
And these are not adjusted. These are raw. So these are not adjusted.
Yeah, strength of schedule. We'll see. I think those will change. Those I suspect we're going to see some movement on some of those. But Missouri, though, I can actually see that they're pretty legit, especially that run defense. They basically completely shut down Kansas trying to do anything on the
Yeah.
ground at all in that game.
Yeah,
Kansas
Lamar
had to
Sellers
throw.
didn't much anything either.
Yeah, so they're really good on shutting them down on the ground, and that's a huge help in games. If you can rely on that, and they know they can't run anything, you have to force them to pass, and then you can force interceptions and stuff. So it's a huge boost if they can do that.
Yeah, I tell you what, if they make the playoff, they'll earn it. I'm just going to go over their conference games here. Hosting Alabama, at Auburn, at Vandy, hosting A&M, hosting Mississippi State, who we've shown actually has a functional defense possibly, at Oklahoma, and then at Arkansas. So two road games to end it with, and Arkansas has proven to run points or score points. So if they get there, they'll have earned it. They're not going to back into a spot with that schedule.
Guess who they have after, like, the week after they play a big team? They get Bama the week after they play Georgia.
What's that?
They get Bama the week after they play Georgia.
Missouri? No, they don't play Georgia this year.
Yeah, they get Bama the week after they host Bama at home, right after they play.
No, nope.
Is it bye week? There's a bye week. Oh, okay.
There's a bye week after UMass.
Okay. Good rest spot there.
Yeah. After you play UMass, you need a break, if only from the boredom.
Yes.
All right. Everybody's favorite, the bum list. Mike Alahado at Hawaii. My gosh, who did Hawaii just? Oh, they lost to Fresno State. Come on, this is a rebuild. You got to do better than that, guys. I'm officially concerned about my San Jose State future. Walker, you get with a 45 Apex, number 7 on the bum list. And I don't know if you saw Tucker Gleason he crapped the bed. I forget who they lost 14-13 to Western. So Western's not even a good defensive team. Tucker Gleason on the bum list. Did not see that coming.
Yeah, very interesting ones here. Kyron Jones, again, how far we've come from people hyping him last year for Heisman, like
Yeah.
ACC championship, where now he's on the bum list. DJ Legway. I remember last year listening to some podcasts where people were saying, buy DJ Legway rookie cards, like Florida rookie cards. Those are going to be, that's not happening. For Legway, I don't even know. Is it the coaching? Is it just Legway himself? Is it if we replace Billy Napier with, like, my take on it is this. If Cignetti was his quarterback, I don't think he would look this way. If Cignetti was a coach, he wouldn't look this way.
Let me ask you this. If Cignetti was a coach, would he be the starting quarterback?
That's a good question, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're Cignetti and you get to bring Fernando Mendoza and you're like, hey, this kid's just awesome. I'm just going to bring, like, why am I going to try to fix this mess? I'm just going to bring this guy who's amazing, right?
And apparently, since we're at that part of the parlor game, Florida fans want them to throw multiple bags at Lane Kiffin to get him there. And he's actually grew up in Florida too, so he can totally recruit the state. And obviously, he's a good offensive mind, and he's good at hiring assistants as well. I could see Lagway fitting in under Kiffin for sure. He seems to, I don't want to say that he indulges nonsense, but Cignetti just scares people into not messing up.
If Florida hires Lane Kiffin, that just really further reinforces, like, the SEC is the English Premier League theory. Like, it's just literally, it's like we just have the same cast of coaches and we just start circling around.
So would that mean that if that happened, then the next coach at Ole Miss would be Pep Guardiola? Would that?
Yeah, him or Jimbo Fisher.
Okay, yes, they're the same, although not really.
Pull the reverse Ted Lasso.
All right. You know what that means it's time for, Robert?
Yes.
Go model plays. The advisory is gone. We're getting the green lights here. Go. I think we've got 8 games to talk about today. The first of them is another Friday night beauty. Houston at Oregon State.
Yeah.
This is probably the quintessential week 5, 6, 7 dual model play in that Houston is severely underappreciated. The horrible nature of the current state of the Oregon State program is completely missed. I think people think there's like kind of a mid-level Mountain West team instead of just like a just hopeless
bottom tier Mountain West team.
Yeah. Look, let me grab my laser pointer here. I don't see a single thing in favor aside from. Here's what I like about Oregon State. See this at here? Good for Oregon State. It's a home game. I don't see any other angle. Houston is better in the passing game. They're better in the running game. Defensively, this isn't even close. Like we said, Houston will have a top 10 off or defense here. There's nothing here. We both have Oregon State basically with 2-ish scores. We both have Houston with 5+. Not even close here. I think I've gotten this. I've played this one already because this number's not gonna go down. I don't think.
Yeah, I grabbed some 10.5. I think I might grab a little extra
Wow,
here at 13.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how. So again, for people who don't know, and again, some states have this, some don't. In the U.S., in Ontario, where I am, we get FanDuel, but FanDuel puts their own numbers up starting Saturday night in and through Sunday. But then all the other betting companies, they go through. I'm not sure if it's the Circ. I'm not sure who sets the lines, but I know Circa posts,
Yeah,
but Circa or BetMGM or one of them. One of them posts the lines, and
I
then
think the grown-ups wait for Circa.
yeah, Circa comes out, and then everyone goes to Circa. But what happens is, because when I run my model for this week and next week. So I've got lines for both, and I already have lines for next week. So I just literally start going through on Saturday night and Sunday, and I'm like, oh, this is different than my line. And then, so I usually, in many cases, my line's closer to the circle line or even further than the circle line. So I'm like, this line is wrong. And I sometimes get like, I've probably listed off what, 2, 3 games already this week that I've gotten a whole field goal already. And it's Monday. Like, this is the thing, right? It's like, this game, there's another one coming up probably. There's a bunch where it's just like, you can grab these lines. FanDuel is not good at setting lines, especially in
No.
politics, by the way. Also in politics, if you can bet FanDuel in politics, do that as well. But no, FanDuel, you can abuse FanDuel. Sorry, FanDuel, I love you. But yeah, you can hurt them.
Yeah, I mean, the 30-second digression here. Their business model is customer acquisition and just the lifetime value of a customer. It's that kind of play. They That's how they make their money. They do not make their money by making awesome lines. And to that point, they acquire. Please take no offense, as you are one of them. They acquire a lot of dopey customers that really wouldn't know any better.
They've already started limiting my politics plays. They're
There you
like, no,
go.
okay, we're not gonna. And the thing is, when I bet something, I bet the max. I come back a little bit later, the line's moved. So I think they're already, oh yeah, Roberts. And the funniest example is the Toronto Eglinton LRT. So this is a light rail transit network that was being built in Toronto. Construction started in 2012. It was supposed to be done in 2020. It is still not done. It is 2025. And there was some press from the government in the Ontario provincial government that said, oh, it could be open as of September. So FanDuel decided to post lines, oh, when is the Eglinton LRT going to open? And it was like plus 120 September 1st and plus 130 like September 1st to 15th, and then the other one. And it was like 8-1 after November 1st. And I'm just like, everything on that line, this is never going to. And sure enough, it's just like, it's closed now. You can't bet it anymore. But like, it closed at after November 1st at minus 700. So I'm sitting there with a bunch of 8-1 tickets on something that was closing, and it's physically, it's not technically cash, but apparently they have something where it's called like a I'm not sure what the technical name for it is because there's a technical name, but like basically they run the service technically with no one on it for 30 full days, and they haven't started doing that yet. Like they do it for 30 days, make sure there's no issues, and then a week or two later, then they start running it. They haven't started that yet, so we're already at the end of October here. So let's say start the service thing like tomorrow. We're in the clear here. So that's the thing.
Yeah, you just took yourself out to law enforcement. If there's like some kind Canadian guy that's like causing troubles on the rail system, there
Yeah.
you're on the grid now, pal. Next game. You can test your Ethan Akalik-Manis
And
theory here. Rutgers at Minnesota giving 5.5. Grab my laser pointer here. The big thing that sticks out here is just how horrible. Yeah, I just thought about this. Nobody knows how bad this defensive coordinator is as much as one Philip John Fleck, who is on the sidelines for Minnesota. Boy, he knows all the exposure there. Now, Rutgers does have, as we talked about, an advantage in the passing game here and the efficiency. Interestingly, the Ryan is pretty even between these two teams, and the GGAB isn't that different. I would just go to these defensive numbers right here. This is really bad. The defensive apex for Rutgers, Minnesota is like average. Minnesota exceptional versus the pass. I will point out too, that includes a game at Cal and their awesome quarterback whose name I'm not going to try, Jaron. I don't Sagapolotele, I think is his last name. Can't get his middle name, but that's impressive. You've got a very good pass defense here for Minnesota post Corey Heatherman. Maybe some remnants in the fairy dust there, and Rutgers is adequate against the pass, but or sorry, this is the run right here. This is the run right here. Minnesota very good against the run here. Rutgers really poor. Minnesota with a decent defensive apex, even going against Cal's awesome freshman quarterback, and Rutgers just played Iowa.
Yeah, this one is. I saw this one in my thing, and I was tempted to play it, but I didn't just because it's such an ugly line. And it's such like a, oh, okay, yeah, Minnesota is a favorite here, but like they lost to Cal and Cal got blanked by San Diego State. So you're like, do I really want to play this team? And but yeah, if it's dual model, we're doing it. Yeah, it was an ugly play. I didn't want to touch it, but yeah, no, if your model says it too, we're doing it.
Yeah, and just if you go like to the outside the numbers to just like how this works, Minnesota is not dynamic or explosive on offense. And I think that actually hurts Rutgers because I could see Minnesota making this. Each team gets the ball like 3 times and a half just by just converting on every third down possible. Like literally being like 10 of 12 on third, or more than that, like 16 of 20 on third down, and just keeping Kalimanis off the field for like a half hour at a time. It just every single angle here. It's at Minnesota too. Yeah, so I like it. My model has a 18-point game here. You have it a 14-point game too. Yeah. I'll be curious if you grab this, especially considering the discussion that we've had already about the home team here.
Mm-hmm. I did not grab this, but I was tempted to. I don't think I did. I saw it at 7.5. I was very tempted to, but I thought no, maybe I thought maybe my model was too high on Arkansas, but
Yeah.
apparently not.
So Notre Dame giving 6 at Arkansas. I can see the narrative here. Two good passing offenses here. Notre Dame with probably the tougher quality of opponent in that regard. But man, Arkansas really runs the ball well here. My gosh. And you got an explosive passing game too. If there's anything, I'd say the one thing that Notre Dame has completely shocked me on, it's like how generous their defense is. I thought their defense was going to be awesome, and they have not been. They have been anything but. I'm going to talk myself into the over here. Total 64. So, yeah, we're on opposite sides of the total here. I do have 74 total here on my model here. Arkansas is going to get their points. Like we talked about in the offensive ratings, they're top 10. Not great defenses here between the two. I've got this a 14-point game. You have it a 17-point game. Your model likes it more than mine, so this is not only a play on the home dog here, but the wrong team is favored as well. So if you're following all the rules, I put a money line play on Robert's favorite coach, Sam Pittman here.
Apparently, right? Yeah, this is down to 5.5. Is
Yeah,
there just a ton of money in Arkansas?
this
This is
is you know what this is. This is the line that stinks.
yeah, it is. I think they know the books. There's no way that the books. Yeah, there's no way that people are betting that much money in Arkansas, especially after two losses.
All right, next game, my Trojans, big noon kickoff for the first time since I believe 2020 to kick off the Pac-12 COVID season at a home game at the Coliseum at 9 a.m. in front of 0 attending fans. A little different time, different experience this time with USC. I think this is up to 7 now. This keeps on moving in favor of the Trojans here. In line with what we were talking about in the Week 4 review. Illinois is just not that good. All credit to Illinois, Indiana for beating a pretty poor Big Ten team. I hope I don't regret this, but my gosh, look, Illinois fine in the passing game. USC literally exceptional. We've seen for weeks here. I mean, they have the top rated quarterback. They've got the number 2 receiver in the country. They are without Jacoby Lane, but that did not hurt them against Michigan State. I think Illinois is a little better on defense than Michigan State, but my gosh, I look at this defensive apex here. Probably not by much. Geez, look at this Ryan by game. You're talking just elite here. This is just crazy explosive. USC is running the ball too. I think they're running about 55% of the time. Surprising here, USC actually They can be passed on. This 57 is trending up here, their defensive apex, but they're getting better and better against the run. They have a couple of really good true freshmen that are playing more and more. Jakeem Stewart got his first start last week against Michigan State and had 2 tackles for loss. Just a big and quick guy. I will say that I think just knowing the Bielema way of playing, if he wants to start with the run, and that's not going to be a good matchup here for Illinois. So if we just take the metrics aside and just from a matchup standpoint, it's not looking good for Illinois here. Didn't think I'd ever see where my model has USC more than a touchdown better on the defensive side of the ball than Illinois here. I've got this 20-point game. You have this a 17-point game. You and Isaiah were a little shocked in the movement on this one, too. I grabbed this one as soon as I got through my model here. I didn't call. Did you? Are you playing USC here? Or are you waiting for the dual model proclamation?
I do have USC. I think I have something like, I think I have a 6.5, but I might have a smaller number too. I know I have a smaller number on Indiana this week, but I'm not sure about USC. But I definitely already have some 6.5. Yeah.
And I think this is since moved to 7 when I was just looking this afternoon too. Pretty cut and dried here. The only thing is road conference game, but USC's got the running game and just a defensive front four that I think travels well enough. We're not giving a huge number here. So, anything other than just you like this? This is where you can tell me how much you're impressed by my team, okay?
No, yeah. No, USC is pretty impressive. Not a lot of particularly amazing competition this exact second, but again, you can say the same thing as to Oregon, to be fair. They handled Michigan State pretty well. Bit underwhelming. They didn't cover the spread, but they put up a lot of points. They were never really in doubt in that game at all. No, USC is pretty good. I want to see this test. This is going to be a great Saturday noon game. I'm excited for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I will. Little something for you to think about, and if anybody wants to put in the comments or DM me. After beating Michigan State, Jaden Mayava now has 6 wins over Power 4 opponents. Actually, Power 2 opponents. Let's go with that. Not a lot of quarterbacks have more than 6 wins against Power 2 opponents right now. We had huge turnover in the quarterback ranks. Just something to think about. If you can come up with 5 or 6 names, I think that's probably about it in terms of how deep that list goes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Other end of the spectrum, but my gosh, just as entertaining. Louisiana Monroe, and I only have to give 3.5 to host Butch Jones and the continual butchering of the formerly proud Red Wolves program. My gosh, the 38 apex here for the once great Jalen Rayner, who he should sue Butch Jones personally just for just murdering his career. This has just not gone well. Look, Bryant Vincent in his second year already has a better running game than Arkansas State. Not surprising. Butch Jones has never, ever figured it out on defense at Arkansas State, and he never will. I've got this a 2-touchdown game. You have it a 15-point game. Easy dual model play, and I love it when the dual model plays line up with just promising good coach against dunce who should have been fired years ago.
Yeah, no, I agree on that. This is like a classic, like a line where the books are just throwing something up there because a lot of people are not sitting there with strong models and strong opinions on these two teams.
I am.
We're special. We're different. A lot of people are not sitting here being like, that seems like too few points. That's the thing. So.
Yeah, and one of my plays was Louisiana Monroe over, I think, 3.5. So
yeah.
They've got 2, just a couple more, and they'll be there.
Yeah, some of those futures are cashing. Yeah, the Clemson at 9.5 already cashed. Like that.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
That had to be the first one.
I think so. Yeah, because it was like with some of them, it was like I knew Clemson was going to be. I didn't think they were going to beat LSU, and then I figured they would lose to Georgia Tech. But then I figured the last one was just going to be a long, slow grind to get that. But I was just like, no, it's the next week. Oh, okay, sure, yeah, whatever. That's fine. That's fine with me.
Done in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Just a golden brown.
Yeah.
All right. We talked about this, and this is the leap of faith. This is really just where we both have the dual model. Thankfully, this was at 3, so this was a side play. Thankfully, this is no longer a side play. Thank you, Robert's model, for making this margin 6.5 and not 7. on Northern Illinois. We both have this going over the low total of 43.5. I've got 57 points being scored. I'm not seeing that happening. You've got 52. Look, Northern Illinois, again, they just got cleaned out last year. Able to run the ball, no passing game to speak of. Now, again, they did face a very good Mississippi State pass defense and a supposedly good pass defense in Maryland, who shut down vaunted Billy Edwards at Wisconsin, he said sarcastically. San Diego State, again, their apex is almost 100. They just beat Cal, so maybe there's something there. This basically is a function of this number right here, the Northern Illinois power rating of offensively of almost 11. I don't have a lot of confidence in this. I will probably make this about a 0.2 unit play.
Yeah, I'll make it a smaller play than some of the other dual model stuff, but hey, if we both say something very weird about this game, yeah, this is a future Mountain West rivalry, quote unquote. Actually, no, San Diego State goes to the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the two ships in the night. They just pass each other.
You know what? This makes
What?
it that classic San Diego State Northern Illinois conference border war.
It's insane. Like, why is Northern Illinois going to go to the Mountain West? They're not Mountain or West. Like, they're not like from the original 13 colonies. Yeah, Illinois was West, sure, but not anymore. There's a whole other West that's been added now.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of mountains in DeKalb, Illinois, from what I know.
Yeah.
There's probably more cornfields, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
All right. Talked about this team. I want you to hold on to your hat. This is going against a coach that you and I both are really fond of.
Yeah, I
grabbed this. Going to beat Iowa State, Robert. How about that?
I grabbed this already too. Yeah, I grabbed it. I think I got it I may have gotten it at 7. I can't remember if I got it 7 or 6.5. I can't remember. Let me just check. 6.5. I got it 6.5. I like with mine. I've got a 13-point margin there, right? The thing is, with Iowa State, you beat Kansas State. That doesn't look so good anymore. You beat an FCS team, you don't care about that. You beat Iowa by a field goal. That doesn't look that great either. It's at this point, it's okay. Yeah, you know what? Iowa State looked cool there for a couple weeks, but Arizona has looked really good. And Arizona actually beat Kansas State by they beat them by a score, I think.
But wasn't home.
It wasn't home. They did outgame. I think they probably had a more dominant game against them than Iowa State did. For Iowa State, it's just kind of, what have you done for me recently? And I don't see a lot from Iowa State. So as much as we love Matt Campbell, this might be Arizona's time here.
Yeah, I'm looking. So they beat him by 6 at home.
They beat Kansas State by what, 10?
Was it that much?
It was a score. It was a score.
Yeah. Let me see this. But they held him to 7. I don't know. Let me see here. Here's the thing. This is the value of at least my model. The more predictive thing than points is yards per play.
Yeah.
Arizona held Kansas State to 193 yards on 53 plays. Let me check that. So keep that in your mind, Robert, and dear listener and viewer here. And Iowa State gave up 383 yards in 57 plays.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
That's your delta right there. I hear some dumb things sometimes. I hear these storylines they seem like somebody's just trying to justify their preseason optimism. And I heard a lot of Brett Brennan was trying to be Jed Fish last year, and now he's actually being Brett Brennan. I'm a Brett Brennan fan. He did a great job at San Jose State. This looks more like it. The real angle, and I want to ask Duck about this in the Quacks session, is Arizona, and I missed this. I completely missed this. I think we didn't dig into Arizona in the Big 12. There's that handful of teams we just give the run by here. I really failed to appreciate their new defensive coordinator. He was the head coach at New Mexico, Danny Gonzalez. Danny Gonzalez was the defensive coordinator, like when Rocky Long's San Diego State teams were like peak Rocky Long, like you would get 9 points against them and be grateful you got 9 points against them. He was that defensive coordinator, him and Tony White. Actually, I think Tony White was actually just a position coach. So he's a made man as a DC. And I think the market doesn't get it. They just don't get it yet. My goodness, 15.8. I think what I say, the number 3 defense. This is a very mediocre. I look at just the power ratings here for Iowa State. I look at the Apex here. This is just mediocre, man. What's interesting, we have 2 totally different games here. I've got Iowa State scoring just 14. You got them getting 27, which is interesting. But we both have Arizona scoring a lot too, which is really interesting on the road. Yeah, I know you don't have defensive power ratings. It seems like my model likes their defense a little more, but just that little nugget about just the comps on Kansas State. Basically, Iowa State gave up 50 more percent on a per play basis. That says a lot, man. I'll put it this way. I feel really good about Arizona, and if I'm doubting them, I'm running out of runway to prove like why I don't believe it.
Yeah. One thing I will note, because it just as a quick note for our viewers, this year I have made some adjustments for home and away. So that is actually in there. There is an attempted adjustment so that teams on the road will perform worse than teams at home. So that's been a knock on my model in the past, just because of the way of how complex it is to build it. It's not easy to do that. So it's not perfect, but it's something. At least there's something on there now, so we can at least, now we're not just assuming everything's on a neutral field. So there's that. Yeah, that is interesting, right? I've got a 67 total. You've got a 46 total. I've got 20. I've got 20 extra points being scored than you do. Specifically, Iowa State doubling. I think yours is probably a more realistic score, but if you told me Arizona just completely dominated and scored 40 here, the thing is, I think honestly, based on the results from the Rutgers game, I think there's a very easy argument to be made that Iowa State should have beaten Iowa by more. They should have beaten them by a touchdown. It shouldn't have been a field goal, and it was, right? So, what does that tell you about Iowa State?
Yeah.
And why are they like 10th, I think? They're like 10th ranked for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think the only reason they're 10th ranked is because they beat a massively overvalued Kansas State team. And they're like, oh, Iowa State's really good now. No, and then Kansas State loses to a team that lost to an FCS team, and they're like, okay, we're going to drop Kansas State for the rankings, but we don't need to drop Iowa State. They're good. No, their win keeps getting worse every week.
Are they ranked that? They're 14th.
Yeah.
So I don't even pay attention to the rankings because they're so bad.
Yeah.
Until you point out to me just the outrageous stuff. And I can only say, okay, yeah, the lady that writes for my paper is an idiot. Next topic. Right?
See, that's the thing, right? It's like, oh, they beat Kansas State. Kansas State was ranked, so we got to rank Iowa State now. And then a couple teams ahead of them lost, so we moved them up. It doesn't matter that their only claim to fame, which is beating Kansas State, a team that just keeps losing. That doesn't matter. We're going to keep them where they are. Like, again, this is where ours are dynamic, right? And anytime you introduce a human element in there, there's human error. There's, oh, yeah, that happened, but you know what? I still believe in this team or whatever, right? Ours are cold, hard, unfeeling, like, hey, you beat a team, but that team sucks now, so you're going down. That's what our model does, and that's what it should do. That's what the AP voters should do. They should be relentless. They should show no mercy for Iowa State, a team that's basically has one win against a horrible team and narrowly beat off an Iowa team that also doesn't look particularly great, right? This is how this should be. This should not be like, oh, yeah, they beat a ranked team, so we're just going to stick them here until they lose. But no, that's not how this should work. So.
Yes. Or you were lucky to beat that team. And nobody's doing that.
True.
Also, showing no mercy. You're speaking very much like an American there. I just take caution in your tone.
That's fair. That's very fair.
The term I love to lean on, because I pride myself on this, is ruthlessly objective.
Yes. Friday
night game, we're to the totals now. Florida State at Virginia, total is 57.5. I'm a little hesitant on this. I don't have the data to say yes or no. Now, to remind you and everybody else on my process here, I only bet totals when I have an exceptional unit in my favor. I don't look for a really bad defense and hope that the other offense has a good day. I look for an elite offense for overplays, and I look for an elite defense for underplays. And I have that here with Florida State. Now, here's my hesitation. I've got a good but not elite, but this helps. And this is why I've got sufficient margin in terms of Virginia's power rating to take me over the total of 57.5. My concern is I'm going against an elite defense here in Florida State. They're over 8 points, which marks them as an elite defense. Now, Still, my projected margin here, I've got 70 total. You've got 72, a higher total than me. So I've got plenty of margin here. Just I get a little concerned when I've got those both ways, although I will say this, when you've got a team that's elite on both sides of the ball, I think as much as anything that makes them predictable. And usually you see these in the SEC where you've got like a game like Bama Georgia, you almost know what the final total is gonna be within like 4 points. So I'm playing this. I'll say this. I have a lot more comfort in this than that Northern Illinois San Diego State total. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I think Florida State's offense is really good. I think Virginia's defense is not really good. But I do think Virginia's strong enough to put up some points. And I think outside of Bama, which his offense has clearly improved since that first game, I think this is the best offense Florida State has played, right? And I think Virginia is scoring points. They scored a ton of points on Stanford. They scored a ton of points against NC State. Now, it is very weird to me. Now, my model actually, if you look at it, my model actually has Virginia as favored. I think that's wrong, and I think the reason why is because, yeah, there is still last year data. The reason last year data still exists in the model is because I need interconference. I need everybody to have a conference game or two to have the model run properly. So that's why it's not like an individual per team cutoff. It's like everybody has to have a couple games from last year. So that fades away very soon. Or I think it's basically everybody has to have, I think, either 4 or 5 games from this year to fade it all out. So that's why we're maybe still a little too low on Florida State. But yeah, I can get behind it over here. I could see a game where they just keep scoring. Everybody just keeps scoring. I think the Virginia offense is pretty good. I think they finally figured that out. But I think Florida State's offense is pretty good too. And I think their defense hasn't been. They beat up Kent State. Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty expected. Yeah, give me an over here. I don't hate an overplay here at all.
Yeah, and just again, the narrative outside the numbers here, but it informs the numbers. I guarantee you, Mike Norvell was pissed beyond belief as last season unfolded, and he wants to shove it up everybody's posterior, and he is whatever he can do to look like a Signetti team. He's not going to stop. He is not going to stop. He will go until he personally gets 57 and a half if he is able to, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Robert, those are the 8 games that we were looking at in terms of dual model plays. I want to give an update on the preseason upset predictions. You came close on covering, but I think the spread was like 7 or 9 or something like that. Air Force did
9.
not
Yeah,
beat Boise, did not cover. You predicted Washington to beat Ohio State. We will talk about that in Island time. So you've got that straight up. I'll just not to spoil anything. I think I like that. And Duck had ECU over Army as a upset in the American. I don't think we're going to talk about that one too. I don't know. We'll see. Army's kind of hit and miss so far.
very hit and miss. Yeah,
So I'll put it this way: just from that standpoint, I can't say it's a bad bet. It's definitely live.
for sure. Yeah, we'll see everybody in Island time. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about Washington, Ohio State. That line has actually moved a ton. That line's already moved 5 points from when I got it. So I got it
Really?
13. I got 13 and a half down to 8.5. Now I
Yeah.
got it like a week ago at 13 and a half. It was 13 and a half. It opened on Sunday at 10 and a half. Now it's down to 8.5. You talk about a line that smells bad. That's like I cannot wait to see the money splits on Notre Dame, Arkansas, and Ohio State,
Yeah.
Washington, because it's going to be like 80% of people like Ohio State should easily cover 8.5 against Washington. Like there's no who is betting Washington, and also who is betting Arkansas after 2 straight losses. I can't wait to see these betting spreads, these betting splits. There's got to be something there.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Agree. All right. Robert, I will see you soon on Island Time. Everyone else, we will talk to you then. We appreciate you listening, viewing, and whatever. We always appreciate the comments and dialogue and DMs and all that stuff. So we will talk to you on Island Time. Until then, be safe and be well.